because I want to treat this as a discussion, I would like my fellow panelists, that's the right word, panelists, to introduce themselves and also tell us 2 truths and a lie about themselves. Right? Okay. So I'm gonna start with you.
Okay.
So you tell us who you are, what you do, and tell us 2 truths and a lie.
A truth and a lie.
Yes.
2 truths.
Yes.
2 truths and a lie. Can
Yes.
you hear me? Okay. Hi.
There we go.
Good afternoon. My name is Yusuf Aino, and I'm a multidisciplinary artist based in Lagos here, Nigeria. Yeah, we're in Nigeria. I create my kind of work I call Ainoism, and it's comprehensive. It's a composition of my character and which is coined from us as human beings. I call it Enio, and that's what I use in expressing in my work to tell the story of and journey of human beings. I love watching cartoons. I watch movies, and I like to have conversations. 2 truths.
And a lie, but you can't tell us what they are. We have to guess at the end of this what the truth is and what the lies are, or if they're 2 truths or that.
I don't know. I think
Try.
that question.
So you have to tell us 2 truths about yourself
Okay.
and 1 lie. So you're going to tell us 3 things, and we have to guess which is the lie and what 2 are the truth.
Okay. I'm a very good goalkeeper. I'm rich, and I'm a virgin.
He's a virgin. Can we guess what the truth is and what the lie is? Okay, is the goalkeeper the lie?
Is goalkeeper a lie?
Yeah.
I don't know. Is that not the fun of the game?
Fair, actually.
Yeah.
So you rather us not know which is the truth and which is the lie?
Okay. The lie there is I'm not rich.
Okay, over to you. Joe. Yes.
Hi, everyone. Can you hear me? Can you guys hear me? Okay. Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Duro Arts. I illustrate art director. My art is more in the service-based industry. So, like, I do stuff like cover arts and album covers for like a bunch of musicians, and yeah, that's really what my art is about. Obviously, I'm Nigerian, and yeah, my 2 truths and a lie. Okay, 1, I love cats. I own a cat. I once co-owned a clothing line, and I'm a very good swimmer.
Okay.
Which one do you guys think?
Do you want to try? You're a bad swimmer.
He's a very bad swimmer.
No. Like Nigerian Michael Phelps, trust me, and real good.
He hates cats.
Yeah, I hate cats.
Yeah.
You hate cats?
I hate cats.
That's good to know. All right, Yadi.
Okay. Hello, everyone. Hi. Well, my name is Yadi Chimba Okonhakalu, and I'm an experimental artist as well as a graphic designer and illustrator. My work is sort of abstract, surreal, and I tend to use this sort of elements to represent like my own inner world, imaginary things. I work across different mediums, from sculpture in stone to digital work to paintings to fabric, the whole lot, and it's still expanding. Okay, my two trips and a lie. I've gone bald once. I am from Enugu State, and I love avocado and egg sandwiches.
Actually,
That's a tough one. What do you think? She went bold, right? That's the lie.
Is that the lie?
Is that the lie? Oh, wow.
I have gone bold.
The sandwich? Is that the lie?
I love the sandwich.
Wow.
I'm from Abia State.
Now we know. Okay. Well, my name is Bella Adeleke, and I work for a creative development agency. We help curate and guide creatives and artists in using their arts to make commercial work, from music videos to art exhibitions to even curate artworks for, I would say, stores and businesses as well. So I'm just going to dive into the conversation, and I'm just going to ask you how you would define what visual versatility is, and also if you believe it is important for artists to actually take that seriously, and why.
So I think visual versatility is just this idea of taking your work from whatever, I would say, like primary medium it is, whether it's painting, and being open to it being translated in multiple ways. That's kind of the way I'm reading that.
Yeah.
I think it's important for artists generally to explore and experiment the different ways that their work can be translated across medium, because number one, it gives you the opportunity to see how else like that work affects you, how else it also affects other people, and what else? You can just also expand your own skill sets. Like, you get to learn new things the more that you try out new tools and new avenues. I think.
Okay. Do you think it's important for artists to be visually versatile, in your opinion?
I think it's very important because art is something you have to express, and basically when you're expressing, there's no length, there's no end to it. So to be able to tap into that extensive form of expression, because we haven't even tapped into 0.5% of what God has created. So I think to be able to get to that level, not that level because we can't, but to be able to break it down and come out in a very unique way, you need to have a very open mind to allow things to flow, and find different forms of elements to express, and that's where the versatility comes in. So I think it's very important, because we all strive to be unique.
Yeah.
For you to be unique, you have to spread your wings, right?
Yes. Thank you. So my next question is for you, and I'm asking this based on your past work, being an illustrator and a graphics designer, and you lent those talents to art direction, art covers for music videos, as well as even tracks. I said art covers for music, from tracks to even music videos. I wanted to ask you how you draw inspiration from your work, and how you use that as an application to kind of create these artworks for your clients.
Okay, so like I said, my art is more service-based, so it's a lot of conversations with the artists, hanging around them, trying to just like step into their mind and their thought process, and just find a way to just visually translate what they've recorded, or just create work around what they've recorded in a way that, like, when people see it, they could just like be like, okay, this is exactly what this person is trying to say, or what they're trying to do. So it's more, for me, it's a lot of conversation, it's a lot of asking questions, it's a lot of just stepping into the mind of the person that you're creating the work for. Yeah.
Okay. And then just to follow up on that, would you say that you would also have to kind of think about other factors that stems out of the artist to be able to ensure that you're creating the artwork that is relevant to certain platforms? So for instance, if you're if you're creating an album cover or you're creating a music video, and you know what channels they would like you optimized, etc., etc. Do you have certain factors that you would usually consider for those mediums as well, or like what would be the laundry list if there is one that you would use to kind of like curate the art to these platforms?
It differs from artist to artist, honestly, because like for some artists, they have like a world that they're trying to create. Take for example, if someone like Victoni now, he has his own character. There's this, I think the guy is blue or something. Like he has his own character. He has his own world that he's trying to create. So if you're doing something like that, you have to like immerse yourself into that world. And for some other people, it's not really like that. So like I said, it's just a bunch of conversations with the artists and trying to figure out what they want.
Okay. So we've seen your art and his as well, like cross boundaries or like reach different mediums or commercial like status, from like fashion to even exhibitions. How would you describe, or can you share a real life scenario of how that came about? And was that advantageous to you? Did you find it of value to you as an artist? And in the future, if you had to explore it again, how would you explore it? And
Right. Yeah.
can you hear me?
Yeah. Did you?
Okay. So, your art has extended to fashion. You've done some creative graphics that like ended up with t-shirts and stuff. And you've also kind of had like artworks for sale for exhibitions, etc. So I wanted you to kind of, tell us a certain scenario or one of those examples of you doing that, how advantageous that has been, if it has, and if you had to do this again, what would you consider? What factors would you take more seriously in doing this to ensure that, the integrity of your art is still in place? And, it still brings value to you and it's still somewhat commercial in a way. And it's actually open to everyone.
Okay.
Yeah, because I can see that he's brewing right now.
So I am.
You're like brewing.
I have been brewing.
Yeah.
Thinking.
Yeah.
Thinking. Okay, so I recently did a collaboration with a streetwear brand called WWYD. What will you do? And we basically made merchandise. It was an interesting, I would say, range of things, from hats to jalabas to scarves and ties and whatnot. And I was collaborating specifically with an artist as well. Her name is Iron Fair and she runs that brand. So it felt very easy to work with her because I think she had she's an artist, so she can understand, I think, the language. And for me, at least when she was approaching me, she really wanted certain elements of my work to really come through. So it felt nice to be at least be recognized for the special and specific elements that my work brings, but also to be encouraged to explore that. A lot of clients, because I also work as a graphic designer and I've done a bunch of branding things, they can be very hands-on and very forceful about what it is that they want, forgetting that there's an art to this and I also have my own experience.
Yes.
So yeah, working on that particular project was really nice because the conversation was then now easier. Her just understanding that I'm also an artist too. So I was really left to play, in as much as there's also some kind of brief that I'm following. But it's that conversation remains open between me and her. And it came out really, really nice and very, very lovely. And I really appreciated that because it was also a chance for me to experience my work outside of gallery space.
Yeah.
In more of commercial avenue where people were buying shirts. It's not something that's priced in a weird way, and also you're also experiencing an audience in a space that doesn't feel too white Wally,
Yeah.
rigid.
Yeah.
So like that conversation, that exchange is really, really nice and beneficial for me.
Okay. Have you ever had a scenario that it wasn't the case, and how did you handle it? Yeah, because I think it's very important for us to be able to kind of share that as well, so we'll know how to navigate those waters. Because as artists, you never meet 110% of the time. You never meet people that you would kind of like be on the same wavelength with creatively.
Yeah.
And you still have to be a professional if you're still in that scenario. So how would you, or what would you do in that kind of situation, and how would you ensure that your artistic integrity is still, if not necessarily intact, but it's still very much present in the work, especially if it's a collaboration?
Yeah, it's not always easy to kind of like try to convince a client that this is the vision it is that you're seeing. And I also like to take into account that, like, I guess like my own professional artistic life is separate, so I can have all like the integrity I need in that space. But like when it comes to actually trying to make some money,
Yeah.
I will compromise on some level. And when I say compromise, it's not like I'm going to do something that's way out of my own sort of like skill set, but I'm willing to listen more, just be a bit more patient, trying to incorporate like the things that they might want to see, but also really give like language and voice to my own reason. So not just say, oh, I'm giving you this idea and like just take it like that.
Yeah.
No, it's like I'm telling you why this would fit what you're actually looking for. So that there's like more grounds to defend what it is that I've actually made and what it is that I'm creating.
Yeah.
That space. Just really taking care of the client and like let me break it down.
Yes.
For you in that way. So yeah, there's that.
Yeah.
Okay, so for me, it was while I was in Ghana for a period of time working on a project. It was an animation, right? So I was the lead artist. Well, I was the only artist at the time. For me, it was different because I had to work with other creatives, and I have never been in a situation where I had to do that. So it was very, very intense. But at the same time, I learned a lot because, like, obviously, I was working with guys who were doing 3D work. So yeah, that kind of affected me because, like, it opened my mind. Like, I experienced new things. I tried new things. I actually tried sculpting, then 3D, and it was nice. It was nice. It's something I'll definitely do again.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Yusuf, would you like to add to that?
Okay. So my own experience is it's quite recent. It's a collaboration with a brand, Tokyo Jeans.
Okay.
I designed the sets for the Milan's Fashion Week for the designer.
Amazing.
Basically, the concept was to walk around the theme of the collection called expansion. So I had to do something, tapping from my love for anime. So I called it domain expansion from Jujutsu Kaisen. So it's basically, to immerse yourself into a transition state and have, full control of a particular world or space. And the project took about 6 months to get to the stage. And it was interesting because I was left with expressing myself, and I'm very stubborn when it comes to what I want to do, because if other ideas are conflicting into my own ideas without an originality, it's easy for me to like back out, no matter how big the project is, because I will not be there happy.
Okay.
So I was able to do a couple of sketches, different ideas, eventually came to one. It was quite easy and difficult at the same time, because you feel like, oh, they're liking it, but is it actually good enough? But with the fact that I am very confident with what I do, and it was easy for me to, choose between several ideas and pitch it out. The production was the hectic part because it's in Lagos, traffic, getting things, done kind of made it hard. But in terms of like working with the designer, we had conversations like almost every day
Yeah.
around Red Zoom. And I think what made things really good was the fact that we were able to like have the conversation, because like what Yadi said, the interaction between two artists, if the two brands, if it's very
Richard.
if it's related, and if you can understand each other's language,
Yes.
it's going to take up that area of, am I satisfying them? Because as an artist, no matter how confident you are, you will always think about your clients.
Yes.
You always think about
Absolutely.
your consumers. We didn't like this color.
Yeah.
Is this color good for the youngies or the oldies? Can I find something to balance everyone out? So I think that's something I can say that made it really interesting, and the fact that I had to travel so actually install the work, because I'm the only one that can install the work.
Yeah.
So that kind of made it even more interesting and powerful, because there's the artist respect,
Yeah.
which is what we as Nigerians are mostly fighting for in the art space. Our respect to be able to express ourselves and do our work.
Yeah.
And when it comes to the area of the opposite side of the situation, I think it's mostly almost the same thing that every artist face. Reach out, want you to design something or create something, and they forget artists' freedom of expression. There's a reason why you reach out to an artist, and that's because you've seen the artist's work, and you need to be able to respect the fact that you don't know anything before you know the artist. So the artist is making you even have these ideas. So as an artist, the best way to go about it is, listen to the client. Let clients enjoy themselves. Yeah, I want the color blue, Yeah, scream all you like. Now you do 5-10 different design. Put the person's idea in 1 or 2, and enjoy yourself with the remaining 3 or 4.
Yeah.
Their pride will bounce down.
Okay.
You understand? So that's my own take. So at the end of the day, there's going to be a conversation, because if the client really wants that thing or wants you to be on that project, they will take cold water.
Yeah. So communication is very key.
Yeah, conversation is very key.
Yes. And then also understand it, so there's a good contextualization between both parties to be able to express what they need as an artist.
So when you express yours,
Yes.
you let the client express him or herself first, and then you try to, because you need to remember it's a collaboration or a commission.
Yes.
So the area of listening is trying to see how you can tap inspiration from the person's idea, because you will see a brand. We have homecoming. Yeah, we know what homecoming is all about.
Mm-hmm.
But if homecoming has a theme in mind, and you don't know that theme, there's an intention towards the project.
Yes.
So if you listen first to understand where the homecoming is coming from, then you'll be able to, put in your own ideas, which you might have had 7 months ago, 10 months ago, and that would just be an avenue for you to like, oh, this is perfect. I don't even need to stress. And you talk about it, and there's 2 chances, the clients might be so happy that you get the idea and what you're giving out is dope. And there's a part where like, I don't know, that's like this person. And there's the angle where the client likes it immediately, but goes back home, listens to their family members, come back, and everything just tends to change. But the main thing is talk, sketch.
Yes. And listen.
Yeah.
Yes. Okay. So I'm going to piggyback off that question.
Okay.
And it's going to kind of just hammer on reception. You know, when artists create art, you're not majority of the time you're not creating it with an audience in mind. You're just expressing how you feel or what you've seen or what inspires you. And you know, when you put it out to the world, perception is different. You know, people interpret it differently. You might create something out of pain and sadness, and somebody will see it and tell you, "Oh my God, it makes me so happy," and you're just like, "Okay, you know, how did you get that from that?" So when it comes to, for lack of better word, I'll call it consumer perception, does that affect how you see your work or how you create work in the future to help you position yourself in a more commercial sense? Or like, do you block out the outside noise, or how do you find the balance of ensuring that, you know, you are creating for maybe, for lack of better word, an audience in mind afterwards, or you're creating for yourself? Or how do you ensure that people who like your work or gravitate to your work, you take the feedback from there and just use it? I don't know if that's a thing or if that's valid to ask.
Yes, I think it's valid to ask.
Yes.
So when people are experiencing my work, I tend to leave it very open-ended. And that's just sort of my own approach, because I'm creating quite abstractly. So if you say you see a cow and I drew a chair, like that's fine. And also, like Yusuf said, when you listen, there's a chance for you to actually get like inspiration from like the way someone's saying something.
Yeah.
So I've had situations where someone goes, "Oh, I can see how this links to that and that." And I'm like, "Oh, I didn't think about that." And then I bring that into the work, and that even helps me go deeper and explore more. Otherwise, or other times, I'm not. I wouldn't really say I'm really keen on like being imposing about
Yeah.
like what the ideas are. To be honest, it's really as you see it. Yeah, just let me know, and then we'll have that conversation. Yeah.
Dura.
Oh, well, for me, I don't really think about that. I just unless I'm doing service-based art, or like I think about like how my work, how they see it, what people are getting from it. Because, like I said, the person I'm creating artwork for is the artist, right? And translating what they're trying to communicate with their music, with their everything that they have going on, actually digital art, or like just communicating my art. So that's when I think about it. But like I have this character that I created based on myself. His name is Bonambelli. I don't know if you guys.
His name is what?
Bonambelli.
Okay.
Yeah. So entering when I used to keep my hair in the front, and obviously I was chubbier. So,
I see.
but when I'm creating art around that character, I don't really think about like what will I say or how they view because it's just my personal experiences and stuff like that. So it differs for me. So if I'm doing service-based art, it's more, okay, how are people seeing it? What do people think of this? It's a lot of back and forth, a lot of questions and all of that. But doing art for myself is strictly for me, and how you take it is how you take it.
Okay. Thank you. Yusuf?
Okay. For me, it's like they said, there are two different sides to it: the service area and where you're creating art for what you want people to see.
Hello.
And as an artist, we have control over how we want people to see.
Yeah.
So it's more, apart from it being a sense of construct, it also has a sense of like truth. Because as an artist, when you're lying in your work, you can't sleep. Except you are very stubborn about it. You create something of the truth, which is what would now create a sense of conflict and in the art world. Like this is it,
Yeah.
So when I create when I'm creating for myself is when I'm painting works for exhibitions, and when I'm having to do an installation like my solo show. So in that line of work, I'm always thinking about people. Why? Because in the line of my form of expression, I am a person and I'm expressing about people.
Yes.
So I believe that whatever I'm experiencing, at least one person is. So my aim is always to make people find themselves, through my work. And it is not from a angle. It's not from the angle of, oh, guy, you got it. No, it's from the angle of, hey, this is my story.
Yes.
We actually need to heal. Do you understand? So if I'm creating in that line, I tend to try my best to be as truthful as I can.
Yes.
And sometimes I don't see exactly what the work means. I just create and I realize that, oh, this is actually a particular time that this happened. So for me, it's more of a kind of interdimensional, connection.
Right.
Divine.
So it's like an inspiration.
It's like
you
an
can't
inspiration.
control the
I can't,
inspiration.
yeah.
You're an artist.
Especially when
express it.
Yeah, especially when you like tap into a sense of directness to an inspiration. You
Yes.
see things all the time that you can express through. You'll be able to relate it to yourself. And one thing about art is if you can relate it to yourself, just know you've satisfied somebody.
Yes.
So if it's seen from that angle, sometimes it kind of make you as an artist find peace, and you can know that, oh, you're actually serving yourself and still serving everybody at the same time.
Yeah.
And if it's from the commission angle, I always try my best to understand the subject matter so that I don't get confused or get lost in anxiety, So first things first, I ask, what is this about? What are we doing here? Why are we sitting down here? What are you trying to talk about or let people see? Because I'm the one chilling in my house and you buzz me,
Yeah.
So I want to know why you're doing this. Then once I understand what it is all about, then I can walk in line with that, because I believe I'll always find a connection to what anybody is talking about.
Okay.
So except if it's from a very, very personal, strict angle, and I don't like cats, you don't like dog. You want me to create an art surrounding dogs?
Yes.
I'll just do what you want.
Yeah. So that makes sense. So basically, as an artist, always stay true to your inspiration.
Yeah.
Always stay true to your core and talent.
Exactly.
But when it comes to collaborations and working with people, listen more, find a common ground.
Exactly.
Ensure if your visual integrity is very important, and you want it reflecting in the work, always ensuring that you can translate it and find a common ground between your collaborator and yourself.
Yeah, can I add something?
Yes, you can.
This is one thing we face a lot.
Yes.
Make sure they respect you.
I think that's very important.
Yeah, because, in his line of work, it is a lot. Because, there's what you want, and everybody comes like they're helping you.
Yes.
As an artist, forget it. You are down in the food chain. So whenever anybody is trying to work with you, they come with other the expression. It's to, in quotes, I'm trying to help you, but in the real sense, you also need to, for you to be able to express and do the work well.
Yeah.
You need to also create a form of barrier to make sure that they understand that without me, you can't do this project.
I totally agree with that. And I think an easy way, I think we have to wrap it up now.
Okay.
I think an easy way for artists to kind of like have that is just having like core pillars. I'm not going to do this. I'm happy to do this. This is me. This is not me. These are my pillars. These are my values. I think once you know who you are as an artist and you have those pillars, it's easy for you to even know if a collaboration is worth it. If that collaboration is your forte, if this is going to help you by virtue of positioning or by virtue of revenue.
Yeah.
It's been a great conversation, guys. So I would like to leave the floor open for questions. I know we don't have a lot of time anymore, but we could take a few questions, right? So anyone? Somewhere.
Hi,
Hi.
can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay, my question is about trying out new mediums with like your work and how you kind of get that started. So, for example, I feel like if you're a painter, for example, and you want to try out textiles, you sort of approach that project with your work in mind, or do you sort of approach it with, I'm just going to try out this medium, play around with it, and then try and work with it after playing around with it? Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Just like in terms of time management as well, so that, it's not a distraction to your work in a way. So how do you sort of balance that? Because I know you've used quite a lot of different mediums.
Yeah. Something I was also going to mention earlier was that, like, my condition make crayfish bend. Like, Lagos is not a particularly, like, stable environment, especially when you're even thinking about resources. Sometimes you go to the art store, there's no white paint. And I think something that I've learned to be extremely adaptable. It's why I think it also adds to why I have so many different mediums, because I'm also adapting to like what's available. In terms of trying new things out, I just go at it. I try not to think too much about it. And also I try not to focus on whether or not I have the expertise to like actually approach the medium. Like you kind of always have to remember to be humble before the new pencil you're picking up or the new wax paint that you're picking up, and just kind of like going there. It's like a sort of relationship of trusting yourself as you approach that thing, and knowing that you made stuff before, you're a maker, and just like whatever happens with this, like it's going to be valid. So you kind of validate that for yourself. With time management, I definitely also try to just carve out time outside of the work to just play. Like, I think the major theme for my work is play. There's a lot of playfulness, which just when you do have that time, or if you're able to like make that time for yourself, just dive in and don't let anything stop you. Not like the material, not the traffic. Just do the thing. And like, I think it's if you've created before, you would see that the process is kind of generative in itself. Like it gives you more. The more you're involved in it, the more you stay focused, and the more ideas also kind of spring out when you're actively doing with it. Yeah.
Thank you.
So
I think there's a lady.
Hey,
Hello. Hi.
you mentioned being able to move from different mediums to the other. So I want to ask, are you able to do that simultaneously? Like, do you have to carve a time for stone carving, a time for fashion, or you're able to, like, are you able to be in the right space to do everything simultaneously, or do you do it simultaneously?
It depends. So I get bored very easily, and that's just my own personality. And so when I'm starting on something, I usually like this idea of being able to do many things at the same time. So I can work sort of like simultaneously across different things. But it also depends on the project. If I have to, for instance, stone carving requires like a very specific amount of time and space and effort. So I have to go somewhere to do that, and then I'm focused on that. Otherwise, like there's constantly, I'll be drawing here. If I'm not drawing on paper, then it's happening on a tab. If it's not happening there might be a picture I'm taking. So it's like, I feel like also my life as well is already embedded within like that sort of like creative expression. So it feels easy to constantly make as I go on.
Would you guys like to add to that as well?
Okay, well, for me, it's more about whatever idea I'm exploring at a particular time. And I notice I cannot multitask as much. So this is another angle where I try to tap into, which is finding people who can do what I cannot do.
I see.
Do you understand? So it's as an artist, we like to be the boss and everything, but
You like to work in
sometimes-
silos as well. So,
yeah, sometimes you need to accept that you're not a welder.
yeah.
So you find someone who can weld perfectly and who listens to your ideas. And I paint. When I'm painting, and I can sculpt in between.
Yeah.
But it's more about the idea. I get swamped in an idea. So, and if I haven't seen lights at the end of the tunnel, at least a little bit,
Yeah.
I want to just tackle that. So in terms of like medium, and when, like what she said, you don't have any, means to be able to use, white, for example. Sometimes I tend to look at it as a sign. Maybe there's something that's about to be unlocked.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So you just look for something that can stand for it. That's where improvisation comes in.
Yeah.
And improvisation will save your life anywhere.
Yeah.
So you need to try as much as possible to be open-minded to it, and yeah, you even create magic.
Yeah, I actually agree with that. I think one of the phrases I started using this year is, strive for excellence and not perfection. Excellence is doing the best you can possibly do with what you have. And to me, I believe that's what makes art unique, and that's what makes it relevant to you. So, yes, Nigeria has incredibly constraints, but I think out of those constraints is why you create this beautiful, relative amazing pieces that we can use to tell stories. And as that might sound, it's just really great to just understand that you should also be kind to yourself. In as much as you don't have a lot of resources, what you have can still turn out to be something great. Yeah.
That's where the versatility
comes in.
Yeah, I agree. Any other question?
Yeah, I have a question. It's actually for each of you. So I guess what motivates you most? So is it like money? Is it like just like you just want to create? And like another related question, in periods where maybe when you're like coming up, or periods where you might not sell art or like have any business going on, how do you kind of like still create or like stay motivated? What do you do in that time? Yeah.
Okay.
Should I go first?
Yes.
You said everybody, so we're all going anyway.
Okay. For me, if I'm not creating or I try my best to watch cartoons because I don't like getting caught up from the inspirational chain because there's so many distractions, So I try to distract myself with something that will bounce an idea back later and have fun at the same time. So I sketch. There's no how it can't be so bad that you can't sketch. You can sketch anywhere or you paint your walls. Sometimes last year I got bored. I didn't feel like painting, but I just sprayed a part of my wall, just do some patterns there to just keep myself going. Because sometimes to bounce back can be really hard, and I try my best to not find myself in the situation of saying I have artist block, which I've never had. So because there's always something to see,
That's incredible.
because if I get caught off, it might take I don't know what it feels like to try to come back, from artist block, but I personally feel like it take a big move to make me like come back. So basically, I enjoy myself, watch animations, sketch, have conversations with people, create art through interaction, because as an artist, it's not just about drawing. Sometimes the best ideas come from asking questions about your curiosities, and that's basically how I was able to even start fleshing into more of my ongoing body of work, which is the escape room. So it's basically asking questions from someone who understands psychology, and from there everything starts to like expand, and you just see that you have 10 years projects in your hand.
Believe it.
So yeah.
Okay, I think he also asked,
What
you
keeps you
said something
motivated?
about what motivates you most? Money,
What motivates me? What motivates me is, well, money is there, but it's more about where I want to get.
Yes.
I've had a goal, a dream, 10 years ago, 15 years ago, and I try my best to remember that I haven't gotten there, and I might never get there, because even if I'm not here, the goal is still continue. It still continues, and we have people like Baskets. They left at a very young age, but their work is still going. So I try my best to. What motivates me is just to remember that I started somewhere, and I was somewhere. I was in the gutter. For you to make sure that boy in the gutter doesn't cry. You just need to keep pushing, and ideas will always come.
Yeah.
So that alone is a sense of motivation. So yeah.
Yeah. Thank you.
Said it all.
What
So you said it all.
Abby?
Yeah, I think for me, what motivates me is money is part of it. I also feel the need to prove a point every time. I feel because when I started digital art, it wasn't respected. Like it wasn't a thing. I started as far back as 2010, so it really wasn't a thing back then. And I always felt the need. Till today, I still feel the need to prove a point, not just to people, but like to myself, if that makes any sense. And expressing myself is something that I struggle with. So art has always been an outlet for me. So it's not just work, it's actually my hobby. So like anyone that knows me personally knows that I am always creating. It might not necessarily go out to the public or anything, but I am always creating because like that's how I communicate.
Okay.
So yeah, that's about it.
How do you get through the hard times? How do you get through the hard times? The difficulty?
I just keep creating through the hard times and everything. It's really my coping.
Yeah.
Even when
I just-
others take lights and batteries low.
That's why I got the iPad.
Abby?
Yeah.
So always creating. That's how I cope with everything.
Yeah.
If I'm angry, I go and draw. If I'm happy, whatever comes out. I try not to put too much pressure on myself.
Okay.
So it's just, and for me, it's also a way for me to document things in the sense that I created that when I was angry in this year and stuff like that. So it's like, that's what it is for me.
Yeah. I think for me, what keeps me going is trying to remember that I didn't really start this journey knowing the full plan. I didn't dream this up. I didn't think I was going to be an artist. I didn't have a full these are the moves I was going to make. But kind of seeing myself here now and I'm trying to remember all the things that I've actually achieved. And knowing that those came out of just me submitting myself to just the will of wanting to make something, whether it's to make something beautiful for beauty's sake, or at some point now responding to things like clients. So sort of participating in that, I would say in creating my life, knowing that I'm the person who is at the front of that stage, doing that keeps me motivated. But also understanding on a more philosophical angle, understanding that everything that we're sort of surrounded by in this physical / material world is things that people have made. Yeah. Things that people of different capacities, from bricklayers to whoever it is that designs these chairs, to whoever it is that's printing out that sticker, and wanting to be a part of that that creative experience of actually building the world that we're living in. When it gets hard, and it gets hard a lot of the times, I try to do. I love to watch things, whether it's film or it's interviews or it's documentaries, because that inevitably feeds back into my process. Mm-hmm. So something I love to do is also just watch artists talk about their work. I love to watch exhibitions and read stuff, because then you're like, oh wow, this person also, they just make paintings on the roofs, and that's how they make it in life and themselves. So it kind of validates my own experience as well. I'm like, oh, like these other people are existing outside there, and I'm a part of like that kind of community that makes. So I keep doing this.
Okay. So for me, I would say impact is very important. I know that money is also quite important. So just being able to know that you have to kind of like keep a quota for earnings, and then also understanding that you have like special projects that you want to do for yourself that you don't have to explain to anybody, and just stems from inspiration.
Yeah.
And the second thing for me is I feel like it's hard to predict when inspiration comes. So you never shut off as a creative or an artist. You can be having a random conversation with somebody right now and it will spark an inspiration. You can just be staring into thin air and something will come. But I personally believe that you have to be intentional with taking breaks, and it's okay to be still.
Yeah.
And, it's okay to actually fill your own cup and just observe and just not do anything. It's also part of creating, and you can't be hard on yourself on that. It's very important. So for me, I think once you know who you are, your balances, just factoring that should be able to get you to a good place as an artist.
Yeah.
So that's it. Thank you all so much.
Thank you, guys.
I hope you've learned quite a few things, and I guess we'll see you guys on the other side of things.